So today I'd like to talk about the difference between dry needling and acupuncture, which is a really common question that I get from my clients. So I'll explain to you what dry needling is first. So we physiotherapists can do some dry needling, which involves a very thin metal stainless steel shaft that we insert into the soft tissue. So generally we're inserting this into a muscle, but it can also be a tendon or even a ligament at times if it's close enough to the surface. So we do this by targeting the nerve ending in that area. So nerve endings are pain receptors that are all over your body, and they're there to tell you if there's an injury. So whether or not it's a repetitive strain injury or overload of a certain area, or whether there has been trauma to that area, like you've fallen over and the muscle's just been injured and it's gone to a spasm because of the sensitized nerve ending. So these nerve endings supply the tissues, and then sometimes the tissues, when the nerve ending has become activated, can make the tissues around it really tight and stiff, kind of like a hard knot, for example, in a muscle. So when we are inserting the dry needle into that muscle, for example, we're aiming for that tightest, sorest, most sensitive spot, which is where that pain receptor is that has become active. So when we insert it in there, we trigger another reaction from that sensitized pain receptor, and then that could come as a jerk, a muscle jerk, or a spasm, a twitch. It can even be a little warm sensation, or it could be a pain that shoots somewhere along that muscle where that nerve receptor is supplying that muscle. But you get a reaction which then kind of triggers it, but once that calms down, then it settles down and actually deactivates that nerve ending. So then what happens is, once that nerve ending is deactivated, it causes all the muscle around that nerve ending that was once sensitized to actually relax. So that's the desired effect that we're gunning for when we're doing dry needling on a person. We're trying to aim for that muscle relaxation and for the pain receptor to actually deactivate. Okay, so that's also another difference between dry needling and massage. With massage, you're moving and releasing over the muscle tissue itself to release the tight bands of muscle, but within that band you might have sensitized pain receptors that are then still on and active. So even if the muscle's released, the pain receptor can quickly sensitize them again, and they can get tight very quickly. So sometimes my clients notice that with the dry needling they get relief or that muscle relaxation for longer periods of time versus just getting a massage. So I like to personally combine dry needling with soft tissue work and the mobilizations, manipulations, and exercise that I do as a physio. Now, with Chinese acupuncture, traditionally the Chinese believe that the qi, which is your life-giving force, is in your body, flows through certain channels in your body or certain pathways, and they call these pathways meridians. So there are certain points along these meridians where they can actually insert the needle, and it actually lets the bad air out, the bad air or the bad qi out. So then it can kind of bring your qi back into balance. And this is what I understand about the traditional Chinese acupuncture. So it's quite different. It's not based on muscle tension or tight spots and knots and stuff. It's more about the channels and where your bad air or the qi is being blocked. And then they kind of base it off those kind of fixed points. So it could even be in spots like your ear or like your head, and sometimes they are in a muscle, but it's not as specific to you as an individual as physio dry needling. So even though the needle's the same, it's quite a different process. So I hope that makes it a bit clearer for you guys and your expectations when you're coming in for physio treatment as well.